Thanks, Cahirlach. Minister, the decision to privatise the bin service and charge for all forms of waste management, including recycling and composting, has been an unmitigated disaster from an environmental and from a cost of living standpoint. Will you now commit to legislate to take waste collection back into public ownership?
Thank you very much indeed, Cahirlach. Local authorities are responsible for municipal waste collection and waste management planning within their functional areas. It is open to any local authority to re-enter the waste collection market as direct service providers if they so choose, either alongside existing permitted service providers or subject to making arrangements to replace those providers. Under Section 63 of the Waste Management Act 1996, I am, as Minister, precluded from exercising any power to or control in relation to the performance by a local authority, in particular circumstances, of a statutory function vested in it. As set out in gov.ie, structure of the household waste collection market, there is an analysis there of the impacts of moving from side-by-side competition to a franchise market structure. It should be noted that this study does not take account of the costs associated with local authorities acquiring existing customer share or those associated with investing in the necessary collection infrastructure or staff costs.
Thanks. I don't know if anyone's told you this before, but you're in the government. You can change the law. There's a majority in the Dáil, right? So it can never be an answer to a question to say, oh, we can't do that because it's not in the law. The law can evidently be changed, and the law needs to be changed to provide for public ownership, remunicipalisation of waste collection right across the country. The statistics speak for themselves. According to the EPA, the municipal waste generation trend in quantity terms is going in the wrong direction and increasing steadily. Recycling levels have plateaued since 2010 at 41%, well below the EU average of 49% and below the EU target for Ireland of 55%, which is supposed to be reached by 2025. In Germany, where waste collection is municipalised, 70% is recycled. The privatisation of the bin service, which the Socialist left were the only ones to fight tooth and nail against in the early 2000s, is to blame for the fact that a third of Irish households still don't have a brown bin, despite that being an EU requirement for the end of this year.
You're right, in government you can pass legislation, has to go to this House. This House in the end is the final arbiter. We have to have the numbers in the House here. That's our democratic system. We have a waste action plan that has some 200 actions in it, and I see that as the central focus of what I and my colleague Minister Oisin Smith wants to deliver, because, as you say, we need to dramatically enhance our recycling levels, reduce the amount of waste, create a more circular economy, and that's what those 200 actions do. And it's very much putting a producer pays, or polluter pays, and producer responsibility in a whole variety of different measures. The most totemic will be the introduction of the deposit refund scheme in the next 2 months, 3 months. But there are a whole range of other, particularly on business community, putting the responsibility for them to reduce our waste. In that regard, in terms of where you spend your effort or what the key focus is on, it's on that. I don't, as I said, there's nothing stopping a local authority, but I've yet to meet a local authority. I was speaking earlier to an earlier question where I've gone round to every single council in the country talking to them about a variety of environmental and other issues. They're not coming back to me saying that they want to see a transfer back towards a municipal-led model. And in terms of where we would, and I think part of the problem, I'd have to be upfront and honest with you here, we've disempowered local authorities, and we still have councils around the country where councillors vote consistently to lower property taxes, where you could actually start thinking about reversing that and actually strengthening local authorities and building up local government, where any other household charge or various forms of charges over the years have become so politically unpalatable. That too, I believe, has undermined local government and the ability for us to take the sort of action you refer to here in terms of changing our waste management system.
Deputy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you agree or disagree that privatisation of waste collection has been a disaster. It's been a disaster in terms of households faced with bills that go up and up and up, north of €300 now, while the likes of Greyhound, Panda, City Bin are making millions in profits and are domiciled offshore so they don't have to pay any tax on it. And it's been a disaster in terms of reducing the amount of waste that we're collecting and increasing the percentage of that waste that we create, increasing the percentage of that waste that gets recycled. If we're serious about reducing waste, and that's the main thing that we need to do, we need a mind shift away from blaming ordinary people who have no choice about much of the packaging that they get, and going to the root cause, which is the polluters, which is not ordinary households in the main, it is the big businesses who produce all that packaging to make their lives easier, to make their production processes simpler, cheaper, faster, and so on. So that means bans on unnecessary and non-recycling packaging and financial penalties to force companies to pay the full cost of recycling the waste that they produce.
Deputy Darren O'Rourke, please, supplement.